Good day. As a part of our group's report, which is the cooperative learning, I am going to discuss with you the types of teaching and learning activities under this. According to Jensen, he described three types of cooperative learning. The first one, we have the formal cooperative learning. In this one, this lasts from one class period to several weeks. These are established for specific tasks and involve students working together to achieve shared learning goals. That is for, again, formal cooperative learning. The second one is we have the informal cooperative learning groups. These are ad hoc groups that last from few minutes to a class period and are used to focus student or to facilitate learning during direct teaching. For the third one, we have the cooperative-based groups. These are long-term, lasting for at least a year, and consist of heterogeneous learning groups with stable membership whose primary purpose is to allow members to give each other the support, help, encouragement, and assistance they need to succeed academically. The success of cooperative learning is crucially dependent on the nature and organization of group work. This requires a structured program of learning, carefully designed so that learners interact with each other and are motivated to increase each other's learning. According to Olsen and Kagan, 1992, they proposed the following key elements of successful group-based learning in cooperative learning. First, we have the positive interdependence, the group formation, the individual accountability, the social skills, and the structuring and structures. Let us first discuss the positive interdependence. It occurs when group members feel that what helps one member helps all, and what hurts one member hurts all. It is created by the structure of cooperative learning or CL task and by building a spirit of mutual support within the group. For example, a group may produce a single product such as an essay, or the scores for members of a group may be average. The second one is we have the group formation. In group formation, it is an important factor in creating positive interdependence. And these factors involved in setting up groups, and this includes deciding on the size of the group. This will depend on the task they have to carry out, the age of the learners, and the time limits for the lesson. In the typical size group is from 2 to 4. Next is we have the assigning students to groups, and this could be selected by the teacher or the teacher selected. We could have the random or the student selected. Although teacher selected is recommended as the usual mode so as to create groups that are heterogeneous on such variables such as past achievement, ethnicity, or sex. And the last one, we have the students' roles in each group or on groups. For example, each group member has a specific role to play in a group, such as a noise monitor, turn taker, monitor, recorder, or summarizer. The third one, which is the individual accountability, involves both group and individual performance. For example, by assigning each student a grade on his or her portion of a team project, or by calling on a student at random to share with the whole class, with group members, or with another group. And the third one, the social skills, which determine the way students interact with each other as teammates. Usually, some explicit instruction in social skills is needed to ensure successful interaction. And we have the structuring and structures. This refers to ways of organizing student interaction in different ways students are to interact, such as the three-step interview or the round robin, or we're going to discuss this later in this section. And we have three major kinds of cooperative learning tasks and their learning focus, each of which has many variations. The first one is we have the team practice from common input, skills development, and mastery of facts. And under this, first, all students work on the same material. Another is that practice could follow a traditional teacher-directed presentation of new material, and for that reason, it is a good starting point for teachers or students new to the group work. Another is that the task is to make sure that everyone in the group knows the answer to a question and can explain how the answer was obtained or understand the material, because students want their team to do well. They coach and tutor each other to make sure that any member of the group could answer for all of them and explain the team's answer. So in this one, we could really see how the students collaborate with each other, how they help each other, how they tutor each other. So this team practice from common input really is a good tool, or is a good activity during the class, because each student or each member of the group really is motivated to do well in the given activity. Another is that when the teacher takes up the question or assignment, anyone in the group may be called on to answer for the team. And this technique is good for review and for practice tasks. The group takes the practice test together, but each student will eventually do an assignment or take a test individually. We always have the review of the previous lesson, and the day before that, we are giving them the instruction that, okay, tomorrow we're going to have the group recitation, a group recitation. Oh, okay, you're going to give them the instruction. So the next day, when you have the review of the previous lesson, they have the idea on that the night before that they are really going to study so that they can contribute to the group. So that's why this technique is really good. Another is that this technique is effective in situations where the composition of the groups is unstable. Students can form new groups every day. One is we have the jigsaw, or the differentiated but predetermined input, evaluation, and synthesis of facts and opinions. In this one, each group member receives a different piece of the information. And we have the current communicative approaches. And students regroup in topic groups, or we have the expert groups per se, composed of people with the same piece to master the material and prepare to teach it. And we also have the students return to home groups, which is the jigsaw groups, to share their information with each other. We also have the students synthesize the information through discussion. Another is that each student produces an assignment of part of a group project or takes a test to demonstrate synthesis of all the information presented by all the groups. Another is that this method of the organization may require team building activities for both home groups and topic groups, long-term group involvement, and rehearsal or presentation of methods. And this method is very useful in the multi-level class, allowing for both homogeneous and heterogeneous grouping in terms of English proficiency. And last one, the information gap activities in language teaching are jigsaw activities in the form of pair work. partners have data in the form of text, tables, charts, so on and so forth, with missing information to be supplied during interaction with with another partner. And for the third one, we have the cooperative projects or the topic resources selected by students' discovery learning. In this one, topics may different for each group, unlike the team, right? And then students identify subtopics for each group member. Another is that steering committee may coordinate the work of the class as a whole. Another is that students research the information using resources such as library, reference, interviews, and visual media. Another is that students synthesize their information for a group presentation, oral or written. And each group member plays a part in the presentation. Another is that each group presents to the whole class. And then we have that this method places greater emphasis on individualization and students' interest. For example, each student's assignment is unique. And for the last one, students need plenty of previous experience with more structured group work for this to be effective. So those are the three types of our learning tasks or activities for cooperative learning. Olsen and Kagan also provided or describes three examples for cooperative learning activities. The first one, we have the three-step interview. In the three-step interview, students are in pairs. The first one served as the interviewer while the other one served as the interviewee. Students reverse roles. Each shares with team member what was learned during the two interviews. Another is we also have the round table. There is one piece of paper and one for each team. One student makes a contribution and passes the paper and pen to the student of his or her left. And then each student makes contributions in third. If done orally, the structure is called round robin. Then if it is done through written, then it is round table. The last one is we have the think, pair, share. In the think, pair, share, the teacher poses a question. Usually it is a low consensus question. And then students think of a response. And then the third process is that students discuss their responses with a partner. Students share their partner's response with the class. The fourth one is we have the solve, pair, share. In the solve, pair, share, the teacher poses a problem, a low consensus or high consensus item that may be resolved with different strategies. And then students work out solutions individually. Another is that students explain how they solved the problem in interview or round robin structures. And for the fifth one and the last one, we have the numbered heads. Students number off in teams, and then teacher asks a question, usually high consensus, and then heads together, like literally, students put their heads together and make sure everyone knows and can explain the answer. Teacher calls a number and students with that number raise their hands to be called on, as in a traditional classroom. So those are the example activities for the cooperative learning. Then, in cooperative learning, we also have the learner roles. In learner's roles is that the primary role of the learner is a member of a group who must work collaboratively on tasks with other group members. Learners have to learn teamwork skills. Learners are also directors of their own learning. They are taught to plan, monitor, and evaluate their own learning, which is viewed as a compilation of lifelong learning skills. Thus, learning is something that requires students' direct and active involvement and participation. Pair grouping is the most typical cooperative learning format, ensuring the maximum amount of time both learners spend engaged on learning tasks. Pair tasks, in which learners alternate roles, involve partners in the role of tutors, checkers, recorders, and information sharers. What is the teacher's roles in the cooperative learning? So, this is our role as a teacher. But the role of the teacher in cooperative learning differs considerably from the role of teacher or teachers in traditional teacher-fronted lesson. The teacher has to create a highly structured and well-organized learning environment in the classroom, such as setting goals, planning and structuring tasks, establishing the physical arrangement of the classroom, assigning students to groups and roles, and selecting materials and time. And an important role for the teacher is that he or she acts rather as the facilitator of the learning. It is the teacher's role as the facilitator to move around the class, helping students and groups as needs arise. The last one, we have the role of instructional materials. Materials or the instructional materials play an important part or important role in creating opportunities for students to work cooperatively. The same materials can be used as or are used in other types of lessons, but variations are required in how the materials are used. For example, if students are working in groups, each might have one set of materials, or groups might have different sets of materials, or each group member might need a copy of a text to read and refer to. Materials may be specially designed for cooperative learning and for example, commercially sold jigsaw and information gap activities. And the instructional materials are modified from existing materials or borrowed from other disciplines. So that's it. Those are the types of learning and activities for cooperative learning. But as a teacher, we could perhaps still modify that depending on the size of the class, depending on the needs of the learners, and it varies according to the type of our class. So, I hope you learned something from this. Again, these are the types of learning and activities for cooperative learning.